Hi there, welcome back or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Amy and I have an unhealthy obsession with Formula One. Now, I have already recorded this video but I high-key forgot to plug in my microphone, so we're going again. I apologize if I miss anything, but basically this is the tier list ranking that everyone has been doing. Now, here is our little template that we found. I didn't make this. I will, however, leave it linked in the description if you want to do it. Basically, S through to F, you know the drill. And we are going to go through and rank everybody on the 2022 grid, not counting Nico Hülkenberg or Nyck de Vries, because I feel like it is unfair to rank them amongst these drivers. Okay, so as I said, we are going to be starting with the drivers. And first on our list is Lando Norris. Now, I think Lando had a standout season, as per finishing best of the rest in 7th. Obviously, 18th. He's not top, but he is close, and I think with a better car next year, he could do some great things, as well as being the only driver out of the top 3 teams to get a podium. It sort of speaks for itself. Now, Charles. This might be slightly controversial because has he been the best driver this year? No. Has he had his fair share of mistakes? Yeah, but all things considered, I still think he was top tier. So yes, I think he has still driven brilliantly this year, and a lot of it is down to Ferrari, as per, what was I saying? I lost my trail of thought with that front goal. Sorry about that. Yes, he's made a few mistakes, but overall, I still think he's up there. As good as some other drivers? No, but still deserving of the lovely top tier. Next up, we have Lance Stroll. Now, if you know me, you know my opinions on Sir Lancelot. It's at the point where it's just starting to get a wee bit embarrassing for him, isn't it? He's been in Formula One for so long, and we've seen little improvement from him, especially over the past couple of seasons, and I guess that sort of comes with having a race seat. Literally, like, you have to do nothing, you just have the race seat, because your dad owns the team. So yeah, taking out your teammate, not a good look. Taking out your future teammate, also not a good look. So, yeah. Next up, we have K-Mag. Now, K-Mag, I think he's had a pretty good season, all things considered. So, B tier. Coming into that car, little to no testing, little to no anything in Bahrain, thanks to, the whole Mazepin Russia invasion thing. Yeah, overall, decent season. He still has a few kinks to work out, obviously. He does qualify pretty well, but it's his opening laps that really get him. And that highlight in Brazil is what's bringing him up to a B tier for me. Next, Latifi. Absolutely goated. That's just, yeah. And Lewis. I'm putting him in A tier. I don't think this was his best season. Don't get me wrong. Still, drove really well as per, but it's Lewis. It's his only season in the sport where he hasn't gotten a win. Do what you want with that information. Personally, I don't think it was his best season, but obviously they put him still A tier. It's good. Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, that seems about right. I think he had a really strong start to the season. Towards the end he did kind of trail off, but he still finished in the top 10 points wise, so he can stay in B. Next up, I didn't really have to say anything. Absolutely dominant season, and that's not even though I know Red Bull fan speaking. Max Verstappen killed it. Simply put, hey, he won the championship for a reason, even with a really good car, but if it was that good, then Sergio would have also been up there. So I do think he just drove brilliantly and more maturely than he did last season, which is why S tier, best driver of the season, in mine and most people's opinions, I think. Actually, I'm just going to shuffle him there. So I think Alex Albon was on the same level. Now, I love Alex, obviously, and I'm so happy that he's back in the sport and, quite frankly, crushing Latifi as he should. I don't think there was much to fault him on, but yeah. Generally, he obviously had a few moments, and his qualifying wasn't the best, but Australia finishing most of that race on one set of tyres, and if it wasn't for the regulations, he probably could have just got to the end on his tyres and been fine. So yeah, coming back in the sport, and hopefully he does even better next season. Hopefully Williams improves as well, especially with Logan Sargent coming in, and I want to see Logan do well too. Next, we have Seb. What to say about Sebastian Vettel? A killer ends the season, especially once he announced his retirement. I feel like a lot of the pressure was off him, and he just outperformed Lance and that Aston Martin so frequently. Yeah, it is really sad that he's retired now. It's been a couple of weeks post his last race, and I don't think any of us are still quite over it, but next up we have Pierre Gasly. C tier. It wasn't his best performance. I think he's lost a bit of motivation when it comes to AlphaTauri, particularly once it was announced he was moving to Alpine. Yeah, but also the AlphaTauri car was just fallen off a cliff in comparison to previous years, so that could have something to do with it. He didn't beat Tsunoda as convincingly as I expected again. But yeah, not bad. Well, it was kind of bad, but it was an oval compared to the next driver. That does give me physical pain, but that's fine. Listen, Danny, I love you, but this season wasn't it. And hopefully you'll be back in the grid in 2024. But I somehow doubt it. I don't see it personally. For a driver as good as Daniel to be that far off Lando astounds me, truly. I don't know how we got here. When in 2020, he was arguably one of the best drivers of the entire season. Like, him and that Renault. Again, I've said it once and I'll say it again. I understand why he left Red Bull. I don't understand why he left Renault just to go to McLaren and then be so far off the back of the pace. It's not even funny. Okay, next we have Ocon. I think it was a good season from Ocon, genuinely. Was he as good as Fernando? No. But he still did a really good job. He scored the majority of the team's points, obviously, but again, Fernando had so many DNFs. Yeah, it'll be interesting seeing him up against Gasly next season, because that could be a cute little French rivalry. One thing I do think he needs to sort out before next season is his relationships with his teammates, because they have been quite frosty, especially towards the end with him and Fernando there. And based on his history with Pierre, I am expecting a bit of spice. I am expecting so much spice. Next up, we have Perez. Controversial, I know, again. B. At the start of the season, he was doing really well. He out-qualified Max a couple of times. Obviously, that win in Monaco. We don't need to talk about that, because that's controversial now, apparently. And his qualifying delta to Max is still quite big, and he is a mile off him in the races. So either Max is incredible, which he is, or maybe the car is just like more suited to Max or whatever, but especially towards the end there, he was falling off, and obviously with Daniel Ricciardo now waiting in the wings. Next up, George Russell. A tier, his first season at a top tier team, and he did pretty well. I think him and Lewis were on par for most of the season, and the points reflect that. They finished really close together, and obviously he got his first race win, so there's that. New regulations, new team, new teammate, that teammate being Sir Lewis Hamilton. All in all, George did a really good job. He made a couple of mistakes here and there. You know, obviously in Texas, just sending it into the side of Carlos for some reason. he had his moments. He really did. Oh, and Silverstone as well. He made a couple of big mistakes, but I think he did make up for it in his driving. Next up, Mick Schumacher. Yeah, I did think Mick came good during the middle of the season. Again, Austria and Silverstone standouts when he got his first points. But other than that, it hasn't been great from him. He has had a couple of major shunts, and as much as I don't like the fact that he's out of the sport next season, like with Daniel Ricciardo, it doesn't surprise me at all. Could we see him back? I don't think so, even less likely than Ricciardo. The Schumacher name can only get you so far, unfortunately, and I do think Mick is a talented driver, just not put him same level as his teammate. I think that's fair. Maybe he wasn't perfectly on level with his teammate, maybe just a bit below, but for a rookie season he didn't do too badly, and I don't think the points reflect how well he did this year personally, because at the start of the season that Alfa Romeo was up there, and they just didn't develop as quickly as other teams, and as Zhou sort of develops as a driver, the car sort of went backwards, and here we are. Unlike with last year and the year before as rookies, he wasn't crash prone, which I think is good. Obviously he got as much running time in as he could without any major shunts other than the one at Silverstone, which arguably wasn't his fault. In fact, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi, they had more crashes than he did, and they're no longer rookies. Next, Yuki Tsunoda. Yeah. So, next to his teammate, I don't think he was as good as Pierre, but he has definitely bridged that gap, and yeah, I think with the AlphaTauri boys that just kind of existed, they weren't really anywhere. Reliability at the start of the season, obviously, and yeah. I'm interested to see him and Nick DeVries next season though, because I feel like if Yuki doesn't convincingly beat Nick, or the other way around, one of them will lose their seat because Red Bull has so much talent waiting in the wings. Next, we have Fernando Alonso. Did I say anything? Fernando, another incredible season. I know people don't really talk about his age anymore, but like, what is he, 41, 42? To be driving as well as he did is incredible. Again, it did get a bit frosty between him and Ocon towards the end there. And his move to Aston Martin was kind of an interesting choice in my opinion, because I don't see him and Mr. Stroll getting along too well. Either way, I'm here for the teammate drama, really. Yeah, another great season from the Spaniard, once again showing how talented he is. Yeah, despite his age, we don't need to keep bringing it up, but like, it's impressive. And last but not least, his fellow Spaniard, Carlos Sainz. Again, A tier. He did a pretty good job this season, in my opinion. I don't think the points gap between him and Charles really reflects the gap between their skill. He had a lot of unfortunate DNFs, people crashing into him, his car exploding every other week. Got to still have a Ferrari, don't we? Yeah, A tier. I think there is a few things he can do to improve, and I don't think he was really. Do I think he was on the level of Lewis? No, but I do think A tier is an appropriate place for him to be. Hopefully next season we'll see a nice close title fight between the top 3 teams, maybe throw in some other people, who knows. And I do think that it's a pretty strong driver pairing there. So yeah, hopefully Ferrari improves. For Carlos's sake, and for Charles' sake, but for Carlos's sake. You know, I'm a Carlando girl. And that brings this video to a wrap. If you liked the video, then like it and press the red button to subscribe for more F1 and motorsport related content. Drop a comment down below if there's any off-season content you want to see from me. I have a couple of series planned that I'm currently in the middle of scripting whilst trying to study for exams, which is stressful. Yeah, so if there's anything you want to see from me in particular, let me know, and I will see you all in the next one. Laters.